All right, Patrick Reusse every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday here on Mackey and Judd and the Score North YouTube channel. Patrick, Judd made it official on yesterday's Mackey and Judd show. He officially called for the heads of both Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer. Are you there yet?
I thought he called for the head of Clint Kubiak. I didn't know he'd gone to both the coach and
I'll let Judd explain himself here. But
in print I called for Clint, but then I'm like, but for the podcast, that's not enough.
Okay.
So then I decided to see multi-platform, Pat, means that you got to have the different takes on the different platforms. You got to sort of
you got to fire someone on each platform, right? Yep. That's what you have to do.
I think what we have to realize is I don't see these two guys being joined at the hip at all. Do you? As far as emotionally, in running the operation, I don't think Spielman's any closer to Mike Zimmer than he was to Les Frazier. I think that you got to judge Spielman. What do you think of the way he's drafted and brought in personnel? I'm not a big Spielman fan because he wouldn't say anything if he had a mouthful, but I think they're different entities. I don't think it's Spielman Zimmer. I think and let's face it, in that situation, 75% of the time, it's the coach takes the fall and the general manager stays. And I would not certainly disapprove of them trying someone else than Spielman, but I don't think he gets fired. I think Zim takes the fall, and I think this he's wired with Brzezinski. Brzezinski's wired with the Wilfs. I think the Brzezinski-Spielman outfit is wired with the Wilfs and will be allowed to continue. That's my theory. Whether he should be fired or not, I don't know.
Another interesting dynamic in terms of tying people together is Mike Zimmer has never really wanted to be tied to Kirk Cousins, and he's made that passive aggressively clear, if not just frontally clear at times. And yet he probably is, right? Like I guess there's a chance. I think there's a much better chance that Cousins sticks around for another year and Zimmer's gone than the other way around.
I don't think financially, how bad is it if Cousins stays next year? Is it only 10 million hit, or is it
next year?
45.
It's a $45 million cap hit if he plays on his current contract next year. Second biggest in the league.
If he doesn't play, what's the cap hit?
Oh, it's 10 million. If they trade him with a post June 1st designation, it's 10 million. I think.
Okay, if you can't trade him though, then what happens?
Then you restructure him because you can't absorb that bit big of cap hit and extend him.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you can't trade him, can you release him and only have a $10 million cap hit, or you get stuck with the 45 million?
I think you can cut him. I think before the league year starts or the third day of the league year and eat the 10 million, but clear 35.
Only eat 10 million.
Well, if he wanted to cut him.
If they don't make the playoffs, he's not back. Not at that number. He's not back unless he restructures again.
Right.
Can do, but I think we saw an example on Sunday night is what happens when you say, okay, I have a young quarterback here, Kellen Mond, ready to take over, and he and Jordan Love can trade sinker balls for the next 5 years. Yeah. I don't know. I think Zim is 100% gone if they don't make the play. I said going into the year he had to win a playoff game, and now I'm not. If they rally from this mess and make the playoffs, that might be enough. But I kind of get the impression that they're ready to go 40-year-old Kellen Moore type of stuff. I think they're ready to go to the young guy, and that he's in big trouble. Even unless he wins a playoff game, I still think he's in big trouble. But whether Spielman should be fired or not, I certainly, that'd be fine with me, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I just don't want Slick Rick to pick the next coach, Pat, and by extension, the next QB. I just don't. The Wilfs are smart enough to know what they don't know. Unfortunately, if you're the Wilfs, at some point you have to look at Rick and say, do you know enough to be making these decisions? And I don't know that I trust Rick. That's my problem with them.
I will tell you that, in my opinion, the Wilfs have a lot more influence on who's the next coach is going to be than you would think they would. I don't think it's Rick, go find somebody. I think these guys will, not unlike the young Joe Pohlad and his guys when they wanted to hire a new Twins manager to replace Paul Molitor. I think the Mark Wilf part of the operation will be saying, get us a 40-year-old, get us a 42-year-old who can, sling the lingo and give us this new young vibe that we want to have. I don't think Rick will be allowed to pick out any coach he wants. I think if Rick picks the coach, it's going to be fit a profile.
And here's and I agree with you, because if you start to look too at let's just play out Kirk's, let's just say he's going to play out next year on his current contract, which he won't, but why would your two of your top three highest paid players be Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen, and your best player on offense is Justin Jefferson, and you've got a third wide receiver now? Like, why would you have all these amazing passing game weapons and then basically treat them as sort of a secondary thing on your roster strategically, right? It's never really made sense. Why are you paying a quarterback that much? Why are you paying Adam Thielen that much? Why are you drafting Jefferson in the first round if you're not going to lean into those guys?
Yes, and how about Harrison Smith? Didn't they just redo him? Or
yes, he's one of the 5 highest paid players on the team next year.
And
at
he's
33.
30 or 31. What is
he's definitely over 30. Yeah.
30 plus.
And I mean, Suhan wrote about this for Sunday. It was pretty accurate as to the guys they paid, and some of their payroll decisions have not been the best. They have said yes too often, right? So I mean, there's reasons to fire Spielman. There certainly are, and but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think he's got the Wilfs schmoozed up. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know that much about it. The Wilfs and I don't talk regularly. That's
it's okay.
Just occasionally.
Thought you guys went and got dinner once.
I felt like you were like with Sid, Manny's, Murray's. That's
got
what
great. He always got that. Hey, talk to Ziggy. Okay, let's see what the result is. Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna tell you, sir. No reason to tell you.
Yes, that would have been, man. In some ways, it's fortunate that Sid passed from this vale of tears, because he wouldn't have made it through last weekend, man.
PJ, the Gophers, the Vikings.
Don't you guys want
to
see the spin? I miss it. I miss it so much. Sunday morning, the spin, justifying the victory. Sid thrived at times like this because you were the a-hole, and he was going to tell you why you shouldn't be such a downer.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
miss the spin.
But I'm talking about not the public Sid, but the damaged Sid.
The morose Sid.
Like that. The morose Sid.
Who'd come into the office, hunched over. What a no.
And the Gopher thing would have killed him. The other one would. I suppose we should mention our Woofies, huh?
I mean, if you want to. Fire away.
One more thing. Judd said you agreed with me on this yesterday on our deal, Unchained. They got to start reviewing personal fouls, don't you think? I mean,
in the NBA?
No,
football. In the NFL.
Oh.
In the
yes.
The thing on Wanham, the thing on Monday night.
The Bears linebacker, by the way, who got hip checked by the ref as he walked off. They replayed that about 100 times this morning on this.
But no, I mean Sunday night, the roughing the passer call on Aaron Donald. Did you see that?
It
was absurd. You can't be doing that. You got to, you don't have to call for a personal foul replay on every one of them. But
they should just be challengeable.
Or you should have a guy upstairs saying beep That
Yes.
was not a personal foul. You
The
know?
DJ Wanham one, Pat, was, and I am glad. I'm actually, so we did 90 minutes of vent line, and not one person brought that penalty up, and I'm proud of the audience because it was like there were so many other things that
Yes,
happened
right.
that led to the Vikings losing, but like they lost the game by 3 points. That was a gifted, rebirth of a possession for the Ravens.
Well, they scored.
And what are you looking at? Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that the Rams played terrible and Titans outplayed them, but the last gasp they had to pull that game out, they gave a first down for an over. I mean, it was unbelievable. It was the guy just touched him in the back.
I did see someone say
they cannot in football. The penalty is too great. 15 yards is too great to be giving up when these idiots think they're protecting somebody and they aren't. And I'm proud of the Rams, as I said yesterday, that once they got that penalty and knew the game was lost, on the next play, a blitzer comes in and hits the guy in the side of the head with his helmet.
Yeah.
Says, okay, you want a roughing the passer? Well,
here's
show
one.
You one.
Yeah. Well, somebody, I can't remember who it was on Twitter, but someone, and it was kind of tongue in cheek, but if you think about it, there's more gambling money going back and forth on these games, especially in the NFL and the NBA, than ever before. And a lot of these personal foul calls, like a face mask is a little less subjective, but these referees can swing a game and a possession by just saying, "Oh, it looks like that was unnecessary roughness,"
that
right?
Might have
And
been, I didn't get a real good look at it, but I'm going to throw the flag anyway.
yeah, I mean, and what the guy on Twitter said was, could we be nearing another Tim Donahue situation? I mean, and it was kind of a joke, but it's like it would be really easy to fix a game by just saying, "Oh, that was a roughing the quarterback there. Let's pull that possession back."
The taunting call last night in the Bears-Steelers
I
game.
didn't see that, but I heard it on the radio.
God. The guy
terrible.
was halfway across the field. He makes the play. He literally gets up and takes 3 steps towards the Steelers sideline, Bears player. 3 steps. So he's nowhere near them. And then he starts to jog back, and the ref, Pat, hip checks him. So they collide. And the ref, because he said there was taunting, throws the flag.
If you watch it,
there was a penalty on that play. I saw the replay.
Yes, but it wasn't for the ref. It wasn't for the collision, Pat. It was because they said that the Bears player taunted the Pittsburgh sideline. He was at the hash mark.
Yes, but here's the thing: if you watch that play again, if you watch he takes 3 steps and he's excited and whatever. Like you don't make the call in that situation.
Yeah.
He turns around. And like as he's turning around and going back to the Bears sideline, he's kind of right in the line. He's like 3 steps away from Tony Correnti, the head ref, who had not thrown the flag yet. He had not thrown the flag yet. So as he's running back, as the linebacker's running back to the bench, Correnti actually leans his hip out.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And then once the contact is made, then he goes into his belt, throws the flag. But he said the flag was on the taunting. If you watch that again, he initiates contact with a player and then throws a flag.
Well, they got to start suspending these guys. You got to say, Tony, you're not working for a month.
Yeah,
right.
You're not working for a month. And the guy who made the call I think it was the referee who made this guy or whatever his name, Rogers. I'd never seen him before. The guy who made that call, he's got to get suspended a month. You can't be that bad and keep working, because one thing, these guys the referees are so prominent in the NFL now. They walk into the arena and they're out there strutting around and looking for looking like the most pompous jackasses of all time, and they get away with doing that. Does the NFL say anything today about Correnti? Do they release a statement? Why don't they release a statement about these?
It's kept private.
Yeah.
It's kept private. So they'll look at things and chastise, and I don't know if there's a penalty, but they will. But they keep it all private, which makes it worse. But Pat, I think we talked about this 2 years back. The problem is the reason why every ref who we sort of liked or thought was good is now doing TV.
Yes.
They all quit.
Yes.
What you have left is the bottom of the barrel egomaniacs who love to enforce the points of emphasis are misguided to start with, right?
Oh, yes. Because
the good guys all quit.
Yeah, well, the points of emphasis are misguided because then, okay, I haven't really seen any taunting today, but I better call one. I better call one. The first game of the season, they called one that was nothing. But
Points of emphasis.
Remember they called that? They had the guy on tape saying, "Let's just say it was," right? They had the guy on. Remember that day? Let's just say it was.
Yeah.
The microphone.
Points of emphasis. No, they're rules. Was it a penalty or not? I mean,
so think about this though. You can so if I'm a Bears player and I sack the quarterback, if I walk 3 steps and look at their bench, it's a flag. But if I gather my teammates and run to the end zone and do a fake Polaroid picture, it's not. Like, that makes 0 sense. Once you allow teams, and which I'm all for, but once you allow that, you can't tell me that I can't then look at a bench. And you know what? If I say, take that, that's not taunting. It's football.
You know what surprised me with the paranoid, these officials looking for anything they can call, is when the Illinois players briefly rolled the boat after getting the sack and they didn't call something. Weren't you a little surprised?
Yeah, in college, yeah.
I mean, it took they did it for 2 seconds. The guy goes like this, but as nuts as they are looking for that stuff, I thought, well, you might have just screwed up the entire
And
game.
here's another thing, too, because ultimately sports are played for the fans, and the fans drive interest and revenue, right? Like, fans stopped watching the NBA in the early 2000s. Okay, how do we get them back? Let's loosen the rules to get more scoring, right? So who's crying and who's outraged over taunting or unsportsmanlike conduct? Like who's watching that game and sees that Steelers linebacker?
Guys my age on the NFL rules committee.
You know exactly who is old white guys.
Grumpy old jackasses like Rich McKay.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like this.
Well,
what is
Zimmer
he doing on the rules committee? He's got nothing to do with the rules committee.
Zimmer agrees with this stuff. These old white guys who are like, well, we allowed this, but now it's going too far because they spin the ball.
I'm an old white guy, and that doesn't bother me.
Well, so am I. But I mean, but I still don't like old white guys.
It's part of the entertainment when they taunt each other. It's just it's ridiculous. It's so stupid.
I mean, receivers and cornerbacks, that's what they're supposed to do, right? This is the most clear competition in football, right? The most of all the competition. I mean, the left tackle and the number 1 pass rusher, but that's a different. That's a battle that takes place in a confined area. The cornerback and the wide receiver, Jalen Ramsey trying to stop somebody is one of the great fun parts of football. And if they want to give the other guy crap when they beat him, that's fine. Who's it hurting? If somebody slugs somebody, give them a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah. Oh, Pat, looks like we're fresh out of time to talk Timberwolves.
That was a hell of a shot, Cat, babe. I always say, boy, this would be a bad loss. I decided that wasn't even a bad loss.
Oh, wow.
The Wolves and Cat threw that one in at the buzzer, and it was a.
I mean, they did have a 16-point lead with 6 minutes to go, but
you know what? Dave and Jim Pete ain't gonna make her, Judd. Were you listening?
No, especially Dave. Poor Dave. He's
Poor
so.
Dave. The other night, Phil, when they were kicking it away at the end of a miserable performance, not last night, but the previous game.
Yeah.
Poor Jim Pete was speechless, and he just let Dave Benz hang there for the last 2.5 minutes.
Poor
he
Dave.
didn't say a word. Poor Dave is sitting there.
What's there to even say? I empathize with Jim Pete because like Dave Benz has to call the action, but if you're Jim Pete, what else is there to say at this point? It's been 17 years of the same game on repeat, basically, with different cast members.
Yeah, last night they were. It is hilarious. Now I didn't see all of it, but it is hilarious. You go from this incredible giddiness as they come out for the fourth quarter and they get a 16-point lead. Then all of a sudden you can just hear what they want to say is, Here we go again with these bleepers.
Dave Ben sort of did. Dave Ben said, and nobody had a lot of faith that this wouldn't come down to the wire, even when the Wolves led by 16. So to Dave Ben's credit, he's read the script. He knows the script. Coming up next on Timberwolves Live, the first 3 quarters. We talk about the first 3 quarters.
I like everything about Morant, though. I mean,
God,
he's great.
He's not only how dynamic he is, but his attitude about playing is fantastic. He
seems to enjoy playing.
He goes to the basket, gets knocked on the floor, might look up and go like this, but he comes back and
going.
He doesn't complain the whole rest of the. He comes back and tries to make a play. He's great.
It's so weird because like Morant comes in and the Grizzlies haven't been a great franchise, but he's just in like he thinks that the Grizzlies are a great team and he's gonna play like they are. It's almost like the last 17 years, like these fourth quarters start and the Timberwolves have the weight of, okay, we got to preserve the lead and we have to dig out from underneath 17 years of blowing this lead every single night.
You know what happened? Things got a little sticky. We got the ball got sticky. That's the new explanation.
Look at you.
Got sticky.
What?
They aren't sticky. They're horse bleep.
Yeah.
It's not sticky.
But coming up next on the Wolves postgame show, we'll tell you why the Wolves had a great third quarter anyways.
Yeah, unbelievable first 3 quarters. We'll recap them and never talk about the fourth quarter.
All right, Jim.
All right, Pat. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh,
all right.
By the way, Gopher basketball doubleheader at Williams Arena. 2 openers.
Yeah,
what do you like? The Kangaroos or the Gophers? That'll be a battle.
Who are they playing?
Kansas City, UMK Kangaroos.
Kansas City. What's the spread on that game? I'll take Kansas City to cover whatever.
Yeah, they're picked 6th in the Summit, so that's probably
Bowling Green one here, baby.
Oh, they're in St. Thomas's conference then, right?
I'm trying to find their 10th transfer. I looked up the other 9. I'm trying to find where the 10 went. I got 9, but I can't. Marquise Mitchell was supposed to be at NIU, but he's not on the roster, so I'm trying to track down transfer number 10.
Look at you, Gopher basketball detective, Pat Reusse.
Yes. All right.
We'll talk tomorrow. All right. By the way, St. Thomas making its hoops debut on Score North tonight, 6:45.
With Jarvis Omersa.
Yeah, that's right.
That team. Yeah. Farmer Golf. All
And
right.
Corbu Stathis, the voice of St. Thomas hoops on Score. So, all right, guys, we'll see Pat tomorrow. That's wrapping with Reusse here, Mackey and Judd.